This is the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
Ann Howard has just learned that Stephen Cord is her brother. And she has come to the Peyton house to face the woman who must be the mother she has never known. Hannah Cord, the woman who for so many years has guarded the secrets in this house.
I have to talk to you.
Sorry, but Mr. Peyton's
You
dinner
have
is...
to talk to me. You're going to answer some questions. Because I know the truth. Both Stephen and I know the truth.
If you know the truth, as you call it, then what more do you want from me?
I know the facts. I want to know the reasons. All the reasons. Mother. Did you hate me when I was born?
Yes,
But not Stephen.
I hated you both. From the beginning. From the moment you were born, I despised both of you.
What could we have done to you?
I'm trying to tell you that I didn't want either one of you. Now, isn't that enough?
It's not possible. How can one hate one's own children from the time they're born?
It's possible. It was necessary.
Necessary?
Yes, necessary. I had to get rid of your father. Not caring anything about you made it that much simpler. We made an agreement, your father and I. He took you, I kept Stephen.
I was rejected as a part of a bargain, like a business deal?
You can call it that if you like.
Why me and not Stephen?
Because your father wanted Stephen, his son, so I wouldn't let him have him. I forced him to take you, and I kept Stephen. He didn't deserve to have a son. Destroyed our marriage. I threw him out.
But he wouldn't leave here without taking one of the children.
That's right. The children gave us both something to bargain with.
What had my father done? Tell me.
He's dead. What does it matter?
It has got to matter. It's got to be something so enormous that it'll justify your denying both Stephen and me a normal life. And you're not caring about what sort of person I turn out to be. Your own daughter. It had better matter.
Your father was a disreputable, dishonest man.
He's a totally worthless man. Disreputable, worthless, justify that.
All right. Where did he get his money?
From painting.
Oh? How many paintings did he finish in a year? One? How many paintings would you say that he sold in, 5 years? One, if he was lucky?
Well, I'm not sure.
If he had to depend on his art, he would have starved to death. And you never starved, did you?
What are you saying? What are you not telling me?
A great deal.
I want to know.
No, believe me, you don't want to know. Not if you loved your
must
father.
know.
All right. All right. Your father took a mistress.
And? What else? Are you trying to tell me that you threw him out over an affair, a simple affair?
Easily you say that. A simple affair.
Well, you must have known the kind of man he was before you married him.
She was very young, this mistress, and very beautiful. And very spoiled. She always got her own way, always. Whatever she wanted, she got it, whatever the price, and she wanted your father. You see, he was teaching painting in a girls' school then, and she was one of his students. Just one of his students, until she got a very clever idea. She commissioned him to paint her portrait, a Christmas present for her father. She knew what she was doing. She was in and out of his studio day in and day out all that fall. I can still hear them laughing on the back stairs, laughing together.
Painted only one portrait of a young girl, and he kept his sketches in the trunk all those years.
She was wild, that one, wild. Passionate, violent, everything that I was not, everything that I had been taught was bad and shameful, and she was so young, so dreadfully young. I hated her.
Catherine. Not Catherine Peyton.
Yes, Catherine Peyton.
My father's painting. You destroyed it.
It should have been destroyed years ago.
You must be mad.
She never even loved Brian. He was nothing but a toy. Just a forbidden toy. A married man, as wild as she was. Someone impossible, someone to hurt her father with, and me, and Brian even. And you say it was a simple affair. It was a vicious diabolical. She knew her father would never stand for it. She knew that I would never take Brian back, and she knew that Brian would never let Mr. Peyton off the hook. She knew her father would protect his daughter's name no matter what the price. And that's why you never starved, my dear. You can thank Catherine Peyton for that.
And the money was...
Blood money. A payoff from Martin Peyton.
How could you stay here afterward?
Because Mr. Peyton asked me to.
For a price. So you stayed at the old man's elbow all these years, hating Catherine, but too greedy to be proud and too selfish to care for your own children. Oh, it's not possible.
I told you you wouldn't want to know the truth. I was right, wasn't I?
Yes, you were right.
But you insisted. Satisfied.
I came back to Peyton Place to prove that I hadn't hurt Chris Webb, to prove that I wasn't guilty, because I thought I knew that I couldn't possibly have done it. It was too cruel, too vicious. But my father never believed in my innocence. He was always against my coming back here. And now I understand why. Because he knew my mother. He knew what she was capable of. He knew what I forced Chris to admit that I didn't do it. That's a kind of madness. He could have said it just to get me off his back. And now I don't understand anything. I don't understand.
Hannah, what did you tell her? What did you tell her?
I don't know, Martin. I don't know. But I'm afraid she's going to Stephen.
Rodney. I'm tired, Hannah. I'll have my dinner upstairs.
I had to go on an errand.
You promised me you'd go straight to my place after work.
I know. When are you coming home?
Well, I'm afraid that's just it. An emergency just came in.
Shall I fix you something?
Well, you just be there, eh? Are you all right?
I'm fine, Mike.
Okay, you stay inside the cottage and wait for me, eh?
I will.
I love you.
Oh, Mike, I love you too. Hurry, please.
I will. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mike.
Mrs. Cord? Good evening. Or is it good afternoon? It's still light, isn't it?
Mr. Harrington?
Nice time for a stroll, isn't it?
Mine's over.
Wasn't she home?
What?
Ann Howard lives there, doesn't she?
I'm in a hurry.
I can see that. Why?
Excuse me?
I didn't know you were friendly with Miss Howard.
There's a great deal you don't know, Mr. Harrington.
Don't be too sure of that. How's Stephen these days?
Very well. I'm sure you're aware of that.
It's just that I'm interested in his future. I'd hate to see him miss any opportunities.
Just what are you doing down here, Mr. Harrington?
Well, I came to see Rodney, but the garage is closed. Looks as if we both struck out.
Well, then I'm sure you'll excuse me. Mr. Peyton is waiting for me.
And your latest report?
Just what do you want from us? Your pound of flesh?
Something like that.
There's no way of putting an end to these friendly little harassments, is there?
I'm afraid not. Whatever you do is of interest to me.
So you might find out something, anything, and use it. Use it against us like a club. I wonder what they're up to now, you're asking yourself. Maybe there's some way I could trip them up, some way I could hurt them. Well, I knew what you were, Mr. Harrington, the first time I met you. A lying, conniving opportunist.
Then we've always had a great deal in common, haven't we, Hannah? Say hello to Stephen for me. And Ann Howard. Tell Stephen I'll be seeing him very soon. I think we have a lot to talk about.